This is the story of one of the most famous ambushes in history. And new archaeological discoveries are revealing exactly how it unfolded. The year is 52 BC, and the Roman general Julius Caesar is marching his army through enemy territory. For months, his legions have been fighting a brutal war against the barbarian tribes of Gaul. The casualties have been staggering. Now, with winter approaching, Caesar's men are exhausted and demoralized. But Caesar has one last engagement before he can bring his troops home. A small tribe of barbarians, led by a chieftain named Ambiorix. Ambiorix's men are fierce warriors, but they're also known for their cunning and their use of guerrilla tactics. They fight by chariots and horses, and they know the terrain like the back of their hands. Caesar, on the other hand, has a large, lumbering army that's vulnerable to attack. As Caesar's men move through the forest, they're relying on their discipline and their training to keep them safe. But the forest is a dangerous place, and there's no telling what might happen. Suddenly, the trees open up, and Caesar's men find themselves in a clearing. It's here that the ambush begins. Caesar's men are surrounded by forest on all sides, and they're trapped in the middle of a giant net. The barbarians had used the forest to conceal themselves, and now they're ready to strike. They pour out of the trees and attack Caesar's men from all sides. The Romans are caught off guard, and they're quickly overwhelmed. What happens next is pure chaos. Men are killed and wounded, and the forest floor is soon littered with the bodies of Romans and barbarians alike. In the end, Caesar's men are defeated and forced to flee. The barbarians give chase, and the Romans barely escape with their lives. Archaeologists have recently uncovered new evidence that sheds light on this pivotal battle. They found weapons and remains from both the Romans and the Gauls, as well as the layout of the battlefield itself. What they found is chilling, a scene of utter carnage and brutality. But despite the horror of the battle, there is one thing that gives the Romans a small measure of comfort. They know that they were not defeated by the barbarians, but by their own mistakes. They were overconfident and arrogant, and they paid the price. In the aftermath of the battle, Caesar would go on to defeat the Gauls and bring them under Roman control. But he would never forget the lessons he learned on that fateful day in the forest. He knew that the Gauls may have been barbarians in the eyes of the Romans, but they were warriors nonetheless, and they should never be underestimated. That's all for this episode. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more historical tales.